Hello guys, today I want to make a little bit more of a positive video. I want to kind of make a fun video because I did so many angry rant videos recently that I thought it's about time to make a little bit like positive content on my channel. So I packed my partner in crime, which is JoJoBox. That's you.
Hi, JoJoBox here.
Yeah. So she's with me in the studio because I had this idea of kind of playing Anno 2017 in the background and at the same time talk about some stories that we experienced in China, because there are some fun stories that I wanted to share and that I think are quite funny. And because she's Chinese, you're Chinese?
I think so.
Yeah, so you can kind of give feedback whether the stories I'm telling are actually true or not really, or what's up with that. So let's get right into it. First story I want to talk about is a story we were in. Which city were we when this happened? The street?
It's the city. It's called Leshan, which next to the Chengdu.
It's in Sichuan.
Yeah, it's
Place where a lot of spicy food. People eat spicy food. And what they do is they do these barbecue parties on the street, where you basically just sit on the side of the street and you eat meat that they kind of grill there. You know, do they serve other food there, or is it, I don't remember, is it only meat?
Yeah, we also had this raw beef.
Yeah.
Amazing raw beef.
Yeah, that's true. So they serve various, mostly meat dishes. And you just sit there and you kind of eat. And we were sitting there with like 4 or 5 people our age, just kind of eating and drinking beer and having a good time. And behind us were 2 people sitting that were a bit older, I think in their 40s, maybe early 50s even. And they looked like they, I don't know, came from work, but they kind of were wearing like work clothes, I imagine. That's how I recall it. It's a while ago. But they were eating and drinking, and we didn't pay too much attention to them. And it was quite late. It's like in the evening, maybe 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, something like this.
11, I would say.
11 in the evening. And then, you know, you just sit on this pavement. It's literally next to the street on little wooden boxes. It's not even really a restaurant, just kind of street food style. And then at some point, I think at the end, we were the only remaining guests, like our group and these 2 guys. And we are eating and drinking, and at some point, the guys finish. So one of the 2 guys sitting behind us, he gets up and he stands there. He kind of pulls his shirt, like, you know, stretches his shirt. It looks like he's just about to leave, but then he just violently throws up right in front of us. Like, I'm not joking, it was like 1.5 meters away from us while we were still eating. He obviously was drunk because he had a lot of liquor. I think these guys didn't drink beer. It was liquor. And he just violently threw up right at the place where he was eating. Then he kind of wiped his shoe with a napkin or something. And then they just left. These 2 guys. And they just went away. And it was funny because then, like, 1 second after that, like after he finished, a guy from the restaurant or the food place, he came out with like a broom and a little tray or something. And he just removed the puke as if nothing happened. Like, I think that was the thing that impressed me the most, that like everyone involved pretended like nothing happened. The guy who puked was like pretending it was the most normal thing, and then the guy who cleaned it away, he pretended it was the most normal thing.
I start a question about this purpose of the video. You said it's a positive video.
That's actually true. It's not, okay, positive is maybe the wrong word. It's just like a video in which I'm not ranting about a lot of stuff, because I do so many videos where I just get really angry about video game related topics. So that's what I mean. It's not positive. It's more like not ranting. And it's a bit funny. Like, I mean...
Not really.
I found it funny. I have a funny memory about this whole puking scene. That was quite nice. Anyway, so another thing, actually, which quite fascinated me, it was...
Just one more thing I want to tell everyone. This city is called Leshan, and they have this huge Buddha, like a stone-carved Buddha in the city next to the river. It's quite famous tourist city in China, and they're really good with their local food. And the one we just talked about, we call 烧烤, like a grill they grill different things, meat, vegetable, everything.
Yeah, and they kind of marinate the meat in all their local chili spices. They have so many chili spices, so it's really amazingly fried chili beef or lamb or chicken, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Really good food, it's true. And I mean, if you want to Google this Buddha thing, the huge Buddha, I think if you just go to Google and you type in Leshan Buddha, you find it. It's on Wikipedia, everything. And Leshan is written Leshan. I think that's Leshan. Anyway, so that's one thing. And the other story I want to share, because I was quite fascinated by that, is we attended your cousin's wedding, and it was a quite... is that like a common Chinese wedding?
Yeah, it's a quite standard wedding. Of course, they are quite wealthy, so it's quite big scale.
Yeah, so they have a lot of money, and that's why they kind of can afford to do a big wedding. So I think we just go through this with like kind of like a timeline, because it started early in the morning. And I was waiting in front of the house of the bride. So she was inside. Then the groom came up, and he drove like a really fancy, expensive BMW. And behind the BMW were all like 8 different Audis, or like they're the same car, but expensive cars. So it's a whole trail of cars. I think altogether it was at least 10 cars, something like that.
Yeah, actually that's true. In China we call 车队, like all the couple when they married, they supposed to have like exactly the same style car to pick up the guest, and often this kind of car shows how rich they are. Actually, if compared with a lot of people, they use Porsche or Hummer, so this BMW and Audi, it's not that exclusive.
So they're even more exclusive customers. But I was quite impressed. So he drives up to this house, and it's like a trail of 8 to 10 cars, quite expensive, fancy cars. He gets out of the car. His other friends were driving the other Audi, so it was already a group of maybe 8 to 10 people, including the groom. They go up to the flat where the bride is. Then they enter the flat. In that flat already were at least 30 people, like all the family members and uncles and aunties. And then they have to get the bride out of a room in which she's kind of hiding. So it's kind of a little game they play nearly, where you have to go to that room and the door's locked, and all the men, the whole group of men, are knocking the door, and inside are all the bridesmaids together with the bride. So it's also about 10 girls probably, and they are not allowed to let the guys in, right?
Yeah, basically that's a tradition. It's like the groom basically get up from his home and come to bride home to pick up bride to the wedding ceremony place.
Yeah.
And this whole picking the bride, like this whole ceremony, like a process, it's really intense. So bride and the bridesmaid kind of sit inside her bedroom waiting for the groom come to pick up her. Of course, before you can pick up me, you have to do a lot of tests.
So exactly, so that's the thing. They ask questions from the inside, right? They're like,
Yeah.
So if your wife cannot sleep at night, what are you gonna do? And then you have to give the right answer, right? You have to
Yeah.
tell them. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna hold her and I'm gonna do all those things. And then obviously also you have to pay money, which is kind of done in a red envelope. So you have a little red envelope where the groom has to put money in, and he slits it underneath the door. And then the bridesmaids pick it up and they say, no, that's not enough money. We're not going to open the door. And you have to put another one. So it's this kind of game. Actually, you know what? I do have a video of that when that happened. So I'm going to put a quick video in here. Where people
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why? You know, do you think they're not comfortable with that?
No, I think they will be alright for that. It's just really loud and no one understands what they talk about. All you can see is the groom, the groom and groommaid hardly knock the door like dong dong dong,
Yeah.
keep saying open it, and everyone inside said, no, we're not gonna open.
It's very loud, and that's why I want to put the video in. But then eventually they open the door, right? at
Yeah,
some point,
it's always it's a tricky about the red envelope. They always say, oh, you open a little bit, we can put big envelope in. And once the bridesmaid open a little bit, okay, the guy outside just push hard open.
Yeah, exactly.
行了
，10分钟了，连个门都没拿下，你说？哎，这个东西，门马都塌了。开门！来，给这样子啊！拿快！
开门了！
干！
开门！
干！
红包都撕了，
收门嘛，行。开门！这给你逮了。开门！快！
红包已经不停的塞了吧？
最大的吧？红包太厚了，塞不进去。开门！
太厚了，再给塞。
哎，开个缝，开个缝，塞大包。太不好说话了，给个面子嘛。开个缝，塞大包。
我要啥？
开门！你开个缝，把那个大红包给塞进去。开个缝。
我要啥？开门，快开门！
开个缝，让我进去。
开个缝，进，快上！
So then after you pick up the bride,
Yeah.
you go together to the venue where the wedding has happened? Is that how
Yeah.
that was?
Yeah.
No. First you go to his parents.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, that's the thing. They first they have to give the tea to the bride side of the parents, and also eat some noodles.
Yeah.
And then they pick up the bride to the groom home to give the tea to the groom parents.
Yeah, so they go to both parents to kind of ask for allowance, more or less, right?
Yeah.
And they have to drink tea together to kind of seal that they all agree on the thing, and then they all go to the wedding venue, and that was really impressive because obviously in Western countries
There's one thing I forgot to say.
Okay.
It's like why we do this. It's like in China, once you get married, you will call each other's parents the same as you call your parents. You call mama or papa.
All
So that's why we have this process. It's called you change. Okay, in China we say 改口费 or 改口 means that's a process. You can call this person from normal uncle, auntie, become papa and mama.
I see. Okay. So after they drink the tea, then they are basically Papa and
Papa,
Mama.
yeah.
And then they all go with all the family in all these cars to the wedding venue. And what's also really impressive is that the whole process is filmed by a kind of professional film team that follows them around everywhere they go. And also kind of in the groom's home, there's already this kind of, I nearly want to say like an MC, like some guy who holds the ceremony, who's quite like a TV host or someone who takes you through the ceremony. So he's there all the time. So there's a professional team that kind of facilitates the wedding, because obviously in Western countries it's different because you go to the church where the priest kind of facilitates the whole thing, right? So then everyone goes to this wedding venue, and the venue was a massive hall, I want to say, and probably I'm going to put a quick video here as well where people can see it, just the sheer amount, because in this venue were around, I don't know, between 500 and 800 people that were invited.
800.
Around 800, and I think groom and bride, they didn't even know all of them.
Yeah, I think they only know probably 20% or 30% maximum.
Personally, right? So the others are maybe friends of your parents, or friends of a colleague. If you work in a company, it's people from that company. So you just fill it up, and the reason why they do that is because everyone who goes to the wedding gives you a gift, which is basically money. And when you enter the venue, that was really fascinating, when you enter that wedding venue, you have people sitting on the entrance, and you give them a red envelope with money in it, and these people at the entrance take the money out and they count it, and they write down, this is this guy and he gave that much, and this is this guy and he gave that much. So obviously the parents pay a lot of money to kind of rent this space and have 800 people there and have food for 800 people. It must be incredibly expensive, but because everyone gives money, after the wedding you're kind of to zero again, or if you're lucky you actually make a little bit money?
Yeah, actually, a lot of wedding in China, they've been basically been calculated. So if they invite enough people, they definitely gonna get the money back for the wedding and actually earn extra money. And the thing is, in the front, they always two part. One part is from groom side, one part is from bride side. So the friend of groom will go to groom side to say, "Oh, hi, that's my contribution," and then not contribute, my gift. And the people from bride side are gonna go to bride side, and then they basically take both sides take the money from their own side. They don't mix them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. They don't mix these two parts together. So,
That's interesting. So it's kind of separate.
yeah.
Anyway, then you have a huge stage in the front, and on the stage the ceremony happens, and again you have this kind of TV show host, and there are many cameras, and they even had one of these arms, you know, that you see in TV productions where there's a camera on a really 5-meter long metal arm that kind of swings over the crowd to kind of give these flyover impressions and stuff. So it's all right. It's very much like a TV production, I felt quite. It's like you act a scene or something. And then they showed a few movies, you know, the groom made movies about the bride that he shot and edited by himself, and they play music, obviously, but there's no priest, there's no church, obviously, because it's not a Christian community, but yeah, it's just interesting to have all these things, and I was really fascinated by how much it was all about money and all about, prestige, you know, how you rent a venue that's really prestigious. Like, it was a really amazing venue. It was really luxurious and clean, and outside you had a garden piece that was perfectly taken care of, and basically you use the wedding to kind of show everyone who's there, like, look, we can afford this thing, you know.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is, of course, one side is to, I have to say, if I'm Chinese, to show off how wealthy you are, and one side to show how happy you are, how you love each other. It's
how much worth it is, basically,
yeah,
right?
Basically to show everyone. Personal, I think if I love, I don't need to show to anyone. But obviously in China, this kind of culture is different.
Yeah, it is quite different. So anyway, I think the video is already way too long. So I think I'm gonna end it here, but that was really interesting. That gave us some smart insight into the world of China, or in the puking in restaurants on the street, and the wedding culture. So if you enjoyed the video, you can leave us a like, and you can subscribe to my channel. I mostly do video game videos, but sometimes I do videos like this, where I talk about stuff in kind of a podcast format. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I see you guys next time.
Just for clarify one thing, they do love each other very much.
That's true. They do love each other, and everyone there are really, really lovely, lovely people. So I didn't want to give a wrong impression. So let me know in the comment section beneath if you have any questions. And otherwise, we say goodbye, and we see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.